first put in your head and really take a step back when you discover bad news. Bad news are going to make you grow, and what's gonna change in your life, right? So I recently discovered, I went for my...
Welcome back to another episode of Intrepidus Podcast with your host, Dan Anthony, episode number 61. Today we have Carlo Vitali with Vitali Plus. Welcome, Carlo.
Thank you. Welcome. Yeah. How you guys doing?
Thanks for having us on the show,
you're welcome.
Carlo. Appreciate it. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about what you do, because I know you're involved in a ton of stuff. So tell the audience exactly what.
Yeah. So first, guys, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure meeting you guys at different times, but it's awesome meeting you guys and being here, sitting here with you guys. So yeah, my name's Carlo Vitali. First, foremost, I'm a husband and a dad. I do own a company called Vitali Plus. We have a few things underneath there. We have the first company we started on there was Vitali Inspection Services. We do residential and commercial inspections, anything from home, radon, termite, stucco, sewer line inspections, oil tank scans, mold inspections, lead inspections. We're getting into pool inspections, getting around being that one-stop shop so we keep our employees and all of our inspectors and our team going throughout the entire year. We started a home services business that does handyman services. We get into some larger projects as well. We brought that back in about 4 or 5 years ago. And then we also have a nonprofit called 𝐵𝐷𝐸, where we believe one kind word or one kind act can change somebody's day or even life. And we try to help 12 different organizations throughout the entire year, not only monetarily, but we really invest and jump into that entire organization that month, right? We try to get our team there. We try to help them through the month and whatever they may need. And if it happens that they need help throughout the year as well, we do that as well. I also have a contact called 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 with my buddy Joe, where we do sensor technology as well. And then just trying to help out wherever we possibly can, whether it be in the community or just in our own house, right? Because I really believe, keep our whole house, our own house proper and everybody pushing forward. If you're successful, everybody else is gonna be successful, right? We all got to push each other to be successful. So that's kind of where I'm at right now and what I do.
You're a true example of an entrepreneur, bro. Plus, busy in every angle and giving back, which is important. Absolutely. I think most entrepreneurs don't understand the importance of giving back. And I don't believe someone's a true entrepreneur unless they are in the give back world. I'm sorry to cut you off. I know that it's important. And since you started the foundation, I want to take it back to like how you got involved in business, but we can do that later. But since you started the nonprofit, what has that done for you, and how have you seen that be a multiplier in your business? Because I know giving back creates multipliers, because it's no longer about you. It's no longer about what you have. It's about everything else. And it just subjectively like grows everything back tenfold.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, bringing a nonprofit, and we'll go to how kind of got started with that, but it's multiplied not only just the business, but I saw it more for everybody that I'm surrounded with, right? Everybody that's invested in 𝐵𝐷𝐸 has grown themselves, and moreover, just the people in my business, right? All the employees that are with me, just their surrounding families. It's just that aspect has grown, right? So I look at that more than just kind of myself. It's helping the people all around me grow and be successful, and not only just their families, but in their daily life as just working. It just makes them happier. And, when you're giving back, you're seeing people that it's helping, and it makes you feel good, and it makes you want to do more. And then as a mom or a dad that are with me, their kids are seeing that. So they're helping their kids in school, and it just goes full circle. And it just really, it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see that the people that you're surrounding yourself and you're helping them grow, that's what makes me grow, and it just makes me want to do it more.
Interesting. So, you got a lot going on. So my first thought when you started talking, and, it still amazes me. You told us before, we've met more than twice, 3 times at this point, maybe 4, on several occasions. You tell me every time. I'm blown away every single time with the amount of things you do. And every single time I'm thinking in my head, how do you do it? Like, how exactly do you structure your day to get through all the things that you need to do?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it all starts with trying to wake up early, and it doesn't happen all the time. but I try to start my day with waking up early and having some time to myself. I know we've talked about it, and hey, you know, you got to do it. You got to. There's no. And I was just at your Rich Thinking conference, and the one thing that really hit home for me was just do it. Just there's no excuses. Just, you know, you think too much. I think sometimes. Sometimes we think too much, and it's like you wake up in the morning, you think, oh man, I got a day. I got this happening. I got this happening. I got this happening. Just wake up and don't think about it, because I don't remember who said it, but just get up and do it. By the time you're doing it, then you start thinking, you're doing it and everything. So for me, it's wake up, get started, have some time for yourself, whether you're reading, working out, just taking a walk with your dog. That's what I do. I take a walk in the morning, walk my dog, and start thinking about my day and what I got to do. So I structure my day at that sense. I get that going, get my kids going for school, talk to my wife a little bit, hang out at home. And then I got some amazing people that are with me, man. I know we were just talking about who's keeping you accountable, and it's everybody, so it's like I grew my business to a point that I have some amazing people that are besides me, and I truly care about them. I feel that they truly care about me personally and the business. So we're all accountable for each other, and it's structured in such a way that, everybody knows their place, right? To a point, right? Sometimes I'm a little bit too nice. I think that's my downfall in a sense. I'm a little bit too nice, and there might be some take advantage here and there, but not to a fault, right? I think everybody still knows their place and knows how to get the day going, and knows when things need to get done, and we get it done. So I think we just structure it to a point personally, get my day going, and then I surround myself with the right people that know when to get done, and I know my place as well. I know where I fit in each aspect of my business, and I know when I need to put my 2 cents in and when I just needed to let go and let them make mistakes. I heard you. I was outside listening to one of your podcasts. I think was with your son, and you or one of the other guys, the landscaping guy. Okay. And you're like, sometimes you just need to let them make mistakes, because in your heart that it's going to be fine, but they just need to make mistakes, because ultimately it might hurt the business a little bit, but it's got to make mistakes for them to grow, and for me to grow too. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So let's take us back. I mean, you're a super busy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on, but you always seem to make it where you need to make it. And, there's never a dull moment with you. Like, you leave an event, you go to another event, and then you got this going on, and you got that going on. You're always popping up in different places. And I think one of the main things that people use as an excuse is that they're busy. Mm-hmm. So I see you as an extremely busy person, but you're very direct with your time, and you make sure that your time's worth it, and you're getting results from what you're trying to do. So was it like that all the time, or like how was it different maybe when you started your entrepreneurial journey? Like, where did you come into this entrepreneurial world? What did you aspire to be, and how long have you been in this place of entrepreneurship?
Sure. I feel like I've been an entrepreneur forever. I grew up with a family that had a construction business. A lot of people out there have had this, right? My father's been in the construction business for as long as I can remember. He's came here from Italy when he was 22 years old and knew no different, right? Just kept on going. And from time I was born, for whatever I can remember, I remember always just getting out there and wanting to do things for not only myself, but for other people. So I think my entrepreneurial journey started when I was very young, getting out there, cutting grass for people, lemonade and, throwing papers on people's doorsteps, and just learning that being on my own is where I wanted to be, right? Every time I tried to get into a 9-to-5 kind of thing, didn't feel right? It didn't feel me. I wasn't myself, right? But I started my entrepreneurial journey about 15 years ago in my own business, right? So Vitali Inspection Services started about 15 years ago. And we're at this point now that we have these amazing businesses now. And now we're kind of just growing to that point. I don't know if I answered. I think I got lost here a little bit about the question.
Well, I'm saying you're busy now. Like, you're super busy. And in the beginning, I'm sure, like, when you were starting your business, and you probably, when you had your first business, only Vitali Inspections, you probably were busy but not as productive. Mm-hmm. But now that you have multiple businesses and multiple things going on, I feel like your time is divided up, but it has to be super productive. Sure. So how do you do that? How do you manage that? And like, where did that start? Like, where did you take on the responsibility of your time? Being a person, I mean, you have 3 companies, bro. You know what I mean? I'm at a point, I've had 3 companies, and it's not easy.
Right.
You have 2 kids, you have a wife, you have so many things you have to juggle. How do you dedicate your time to all these things in your life, but make sure that your time isn't being wasted and you're delivering in all aspects?
Yeah, just trying to time block it, really. You know, trying to time block what I'm doing on a particular day. And the night before, I'm always just writing down exactly what I got to do for that day and making sure that my top 3 things are just done. You know, if I get through the day and I know that, hey, listen, I made it to this show, I got this done, I got to prep. We make homemade wine, right? This Friday, I'm making homemade wine with my entire family. I know that I got to get that order in. I got to make sure everything's done. That's done. You know, for my top 3 things, I know that those things are done and I'm satisfied and those things are getting done. In terms of getting everywhere, I mean, when I first started just the inspection business, I felt like, yes, I didn't feel like I was as productive because I was in it 7 days a week. You're going to events, you're doing 3 inspections a day, and you're just going. I started to realize that it's like a lot of people, you can't do it all by yourself, right? So that's when I brought in, 1 employee, and then figured I got to keep on bringing it in order to make sure I scale the right way. So I was making sure that I had the right people beside me to make sure these things are happening, and they're helping me get to, hey, Carlo, we got to get to this place. We got to make sure these things are getting done. This is getting done. And I'm setting myself up to make sure I'm getting to all those places the right way. And I think you said it too to me one time. Hey, make sure that you're making that time for your family. You know what I mean? Make sure that that phone is down. You're making, you got those 2 hours or whatever you need to make sure that your kids and your family know that you're there for them. Mm-hmm. You're 6 to 8 o'clock, whatever it might be. You're making sure that you're making that time.
Yeah, I think a misconception is people always feel like they can't give enough time to their family, especially being an entrepreneur. But as long as you're present in the time, so like if you're around for 4 hours, but you're not present in the moment, you're around for no hours.
Right.
But if you're present and you're available for 2 straight hours, it feels like 10 hours because you're actually participating, you're actually there, things are going on, and you're exhausting yourselves together to know that the time was well spent.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing for me was learn how to say no. Because
in the beginning, it is for all of us.
I said yes to everything.
Right.
I said yes to every single thing because that's how I got business. It was like, yeah, can you do this, Carlo? Sure, I'll be there. I'll do this. I'll do that. But as I was like, I have to say no. I have to. And it was my dad that said this to me. He goes, you can't say yes all the time. He goes, you can't say yes to a job all the time. You have to say no. People have to know your boundaries. Say no. It's hard, but you say no. And eventually, the no will turn to a yes, but in a different way.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, saying no is extremely difficult. I did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Said yes to literally everything, but it helped me build the business that I have today.
Right.
So I can't really say that not to say yes to everything in the beginning. Now you get in, at least I know you have done this before. I say no through the numbers, right?
Okay.
It's like, I don't want to do something. Here's my no. Sometimes people say yes to the no's. Mm-hmm. It's fortunate and unfortunate at the same time. So, but I get it. But let's just go back to how you built because the home inspection business is the oldest in your repertoire, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So bring us back to the very beginning. How did you get into the home inspections, and then how do you build your team from there?
Sure. So home inspections, we've been in for 15 years, like I said. I was working with my father for as long as I could remember. And as I was working with him, going through other schools and things that I wasn't going to be a part of, I was working with him. And actually my brother-in-law, who owns a pizza place now, was figuring out what he was looking to do. And he came to me as I was working with my dad. Hey, you want to go to home inspection school? I had no idea what home inspection was, right? He's like, let's go to home inspection school. And he was kind of enticing me to come on, that he wanted to do it as well. We went to home inspection school. This was 2007. It's only a 10-week school. So, I mean, it's an amazing career. It's only a 10-week school. I was like, let's go do it. So we did that. That was 2007. And then I didn't do anything with it because my father needed help in the business. I didn't do anything with it until 2010, somewhere around there.
2008 wasn't a good time anyway.
2008 wasn't a good time at all. So we started doing about 2007, 2008. I was working with my dad doing that. My brother-in-law, we all graduated. He went on and got a great job with AT&T. I went back to work with my dad 2011. I was in the truck with my dad. We're driving. And he's like, hey, whatever happened to that home inspection thing? ever going to do anything with it? You know, they always say, you know, your dad wants you to do better than they always do, you know, or anybody, you know. So I was like, well, I don't know. I kind of just put it to the wayside. So I started looking into it a little bit more, and that's when I just put the papers in. I said, I'm going to get this thing started. So I just did it. Just got into it. Started the business. Started getting out there, meeting a couple realtors, and from there, I got my first appointment. I remember it. I'm in the truck with my dad. Got a phone call. Hey, we need you to do a home inspection tomorrow. Are you available? I looked at him, and he's like, hell yeah, you're available. So
you had to get it.
So I went to do it, and from there I was just going, and it came to a point that, you know, I had to step aside, we'll work with my dad, and just, you know, I started doing it, and it came quick. I got lucky in a sense, I guess, because 2011 to, you know, a couple of years ago, it was a great ride.
Boom,
you know, it's that 10, 11-year ride that it was great. We were making money.
You weren't lucky, man. You worked hard to get there. You know, you were persistent, consistent.
I did.
You know, I think you don't want to give the viewers the wrong, the misconception of luck. You know, luck is what happens.
We create our own luck.
Yeah. Luck is what happens after you drive it, you know?
That's true.
You hit the ball every day. Eventually, you're going to hit the hole, right? So,
yeah, we said it before. It's consistency creates opportunity, and that's what people call luck. The opportunity.
Right, is the opportunity. And you're right about it. You know, I kept on hitting the pavement, going out there every single day. Like I said before, I was going to events every day, meeting new people, taking business meetings, you know, doing inspections, and just growing the business, right? And I didn't really know what that meant because I didn't have a business background, right? I had construction knowledge. I knew my shit in construction. I knew how to inspect a house. I knew how to talk to people and educate them on their home, but I didn't know the back end. I didn't really know, you know, inspection software. I didn't know, you know, the budgets, yes, because, you know, construction-wise, I knew the numbers. I knew all that. I knew how to build. I knew how to set up proposals. I knew all that, but I didn't know the back end, the accounting, or any of that. It's a lot. You know, I hear that all the time in my industry. There's a lot of guys in that industry that don't know any of that, in the construction industry and all those industries that don't know that back end. And I fell into that, right? So I needed that help. And I realized that as I was moving through, and I'm like, I'm making money. What the hell am I doing with it?
Yeah.
You know, it's coming in and it's going out, and I'm paying my bills, and I got money in the bank, but I don't know what to do with it, right? So that's when I brought in my first employee, and that first employee, Anthony, he's still with me to this day. That's awesome. He, you know, started being my just kind of, hey, listen, we got to bring this in. Let's bring this in. Let's bring in a software, to scheduling software. Let's bring in different softwares, and, you know, we started doing that, and we started building to a point that we needed to hire an inspector. Get an office, get a brick and mortar place that we could have the tools, and we started building from there. From there, we grew. You know, now we had 12 full-time inspectors. Now we have 9 full-time inspectors. We have 2 chimney guys. We have a whole chimney division now. We have 3 in-house client care coordinators. We have an amazing growth team that gets out there and now does our events, does our meetings, and that's where kind of the full circle comes around with Happy Smiles. Because now Happy Smiles is just really engulfed in where the business is coming from. You know, we deal with realtors all the time that they don't know where to put their money when they're out there, and they need help in their marketing and all of that, and where to kind of help their community. And we come in and we try to give them that value. It's all about bringing value. If I can't bring value to somebody, there's no reason for me to be even talking with anybody, you know. So we want to try to bring value to whoever we're working with. So right now, that's kind of the point we're at and kind of where we grew from. But everything that I'm learning and still learning to this point, I feel like I still don't know shit, because you're still in it every day, and I'm trying to grow, and I ask questions and trying to figure it out every day. And it's like, all right, I'm growing, I'm doing my thing, but I still feel like there's so much more to learn and so much more to grow.
So all sounds good, like you had such positive experiences and growth here, but let's talk about the hardest time in business. Yeah. What was one of the biggest downfalls you had in business, or rock bottom points of your business? So
I feel that we did work really hard. I think a struggle for myself, and I think a lot of people came when, you know, we hit the pandemic, you know, with COVID. You know, for us in the home inspection business, we were still working, right? So it was very difficult because we were still out there inspecting houses, and every house had to be inspected and cleaned everything we touched. So I mean, every single thing that we inspected, we were carrying around Lysol wipes on things that came through, right? So every room, every doorknob, every latch on a window, every single thing we touched had to be cleaned, right? And it was very difficult because of a lot of them, you know, I had 2 or 3 inspectors that didn't want to, were worried about, you know, getting COVID as you're going in houses, didn't want to be around people. So it was very difficult, but the business was crazy. It was coming in and I couldn't keep up. So I'm out there, you know, doing 3 inspections a day, and it was really difficult mentally, right? It was very difficult mentally. It was difficult at home because, you know, family and kids, and I'm going out in the public, and, you know, my wife's a teacher, right? So it was just difficult because she's home with the kids online, teaching them, and online doing teaching of her own. So I think it was physically, mentally, we didn't necessarily hit rock bottom, but we hit rock bottom because it was difficult to get through that time. So that's how I would say was probably the most difficult part, was just kind of getting through. But good things came out of it because we didn't stop, right? There was a lot of companies out there that did stop, that didn't want to pursue and go through the headache of having to do all this. We didn't stop. We actually started since shut down, but we started a cleaning business through that, you know, because we were going into homes. People needed their houses cleaned. We were disinfecting homes. We were disinfecting buses. We started getting into, you know, bigger box stores and coffee shops and disinfecting in there because they were having people come through. So we had to do all those different things. So good things came out of it, but it was still a really tough few years to get through.
Seems like you're always thinking about the next opportunity, whatever opportunities come your way. Like, you're doing this,
doing
now you start
Lysol
cleaning
wipes.
over,
Now he's cleaning Walmarts and shit.
Yeah.
That's
but
wild.
we always want to be the first ones. You know, I've noticed in our industry as inspectors, right? As we got into other things, but main focus in inspections, I know it's a very, very young industry, and there's a lot of people that don't want to bring in up and coming things because they're worried that they won't get business, right? If I could give an example, you know, we started chimney inspections, sewer line inspections, and oil tank scans. Nobody was doing those types of things because they were worried that they were going to kill a deal for a potential or a realtor or a client. Well, we're bringing value to the client. My top priority is bringing value to our clients who are buying homes and making sure that they are educated on their entire house. And how a realtor or somebody else might take it is, we don't want it. We don't want to do that because it's too much education. They can go and get it somewhere else instead of having the inspector do it. Let them go and get it from a sewer line inspector or plumber, or bring in a mold specialist, or bring in some. No, we want to do it. We want it not only for the money, but it's easier for the client to be coming from one person's mouth. They have trust in us already. They have trust in the realtor. They have trust in their title person, mortgage person. So why not build that team that we can all do it together? And then but we want it to be the first to do it. And now, you know, you're seeing more people doing it because they see the value in it.
So certification wise, you need to go to school. You said it was a 10-week program?
It's a 10-week program.
10-week program to get your home inspection license.
To get the schooling, and then you got to do license part of it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like on-site training type thing?
On-site training, you got to take a national test. It is a professional engineering license, so you have to go through. You got to take a national test. You have to, you know, do your ride-alongs. You got to do about 250 inspections. So you have to do a lot to get through it.
Yeah. So it's a bit much. All right. Yeah. So understood. But I know my neighbor did it.
Yeah.
And he just goes and does it. I don't know how. I never really asked him this question. But thanks for clearing that up. But as far as the other portions of inspection that aren't as popular, as you said, you know, oil inspection,
sewer line, chimney,
lines. Do you need additional certifications in order to do that, or is that something that's covered typically during
just
the
the chimney?
Inspection?
So chimney, you need a separate license. That's a code license. So you do have to go to a different school for that. As for sewer line, oil tanks, that's more of a certification, just training.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What about environmental impact and stuff like soil and whatnot? Is that something that you test for?
We don't do soil. We don't do any soil. We do lead inspections. So environmental wise, we'll get into homes. So there's a new law that kind of passed a few years back for rental properties in New Jersey that they have to get lead inspections
for paint, right?
For paint, right? So we do so swabs or dust samplings, and also visual inspections on the environmental side. But we don't really get into soil inspections or for oil tank sweeps for any contamination or anything.
That'd be like a soil boring, right?
Yeah. We don't get into any of that. We give out the work for that. It's a little bit more on the license side, and they specialize in that and do that every single day. So we look to them for that knowledge. Yes, maybe something one day. One day.
So it looks like you started Vitali Inspections here,
Talk
and then you started bringing on all these other brands. So your brand now is Vitality Plus. It seems to me, and I could be wrong, but you're building all of these different businesses as you as the brand ambassador, but you not necessarily being the brand. And all of these companies are scalable at a point where you could probably sell them, but keep your brand and off that because you're not the center of all those companies.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. Yeah. That's one thing that's important. So maybe you could talk about the beginning where you were doing all the work, how you got to a point right now where you have all these inspectors and you're just building the brand and you're marketing, the importance of that. Because I think most small business owners, and we can even talk to just, let's say, the home inspector who's just him, that can't get bigger than himself. Most people feel like they have to do it all. They can't build a big company. They keep themselves as a bottleneck, as the middle of their company. And you'll never grow to a point of where you are today, nor be able to sell your company if you are your company. Like, what has that change been for you, and what kind of advice would you give to the next guy?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, with Vitality Plus now, it's scaled to that. Not too long ago, we've decided that, we have to do something, right? I can't just be the person who's in front of it all the time. And still to this day, I still get, I'm getting people all the time, hey, Carlo, I want you to do my inspection. And I go out there and do it, or I'm on different jobs. But
hope you charge a premium.
What?
We charge a premium for you.
Absolutely. But some of my guys are much, much better, which is great. That's why I send them out there. But the brand is so important because taking yourself out of the mix is gonna help in a sense that they're gonna see that you want to help other people. You want to help other people. You want to bring other people into the mix and help their families and help other people grow, right? If we're all moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. So I think that it's so important because you are now going to be able to grow other people in that sense. If I'm answering your question correctly there, I think that once you remove yourself from it and you're able to grow to a point that you can have that umbrella underneath you, I can sell off other things and kind of start building other things.
In the event someone come up to you today and say, hey, listen, I want to buy Vitality Inspections, they can buy it because a business does business without you.
Right.
That's the whole thing, is most people stay stuck in their own business. They're the center of the business. They're the kingpin or the bottleneck, whatever you want to call it. And at the end of the day, if things don't run through them, the business doesn't run.
Right.
But you've created a performance level where you have the team behind it, and you are not the face of it, you are the brand of it.
Right.
So as long as you're not the face of it and you're not the guy in it doing it all the time, then it's scalable. So most people don't grow businesses to their full potential because they feel like they have to do everything.
They have to be the person there.
Yeah.
And that's where the importance comes in, of surrounding yourself with the right people. Surrounding yourself with the people that are going to help you. I think that's the hardest thing, is finding those people, but trusting those people, right? Because we said it before, letting those people make the mistakes. A lot of people get people in and they make a few mistakes and they're like, oh, I'm done. Get out. I'll just go back to doing it all myself, right? And that's kind of, you can't do that. Yeah. You have to let them grow. You have to let them flourish in a sense. All right, so many mistakes, but let them make mistakes. We grow, we talk, we figure it out. And that person's going to either swim with you with it, or they're going to get out of the pool. They're not going to want to do it anymore, because they're just going to figure out, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. I want to keep on moving forward. And if you're not doing that, then you're going to get out by yourself, right? And we're going to get somebody else in that's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, people tend to forget when they hire their first employee that, it takes a little bit of time to train them. Yeah, they suck. They make mistakes. They miss something during inspection, but that was you, right? You had to learn that, but you had to learn it on your own. So you think that, as the mentor and having someone like yourself teaching the person that's below you, you expect them to exceed your expectations every single time. But in reality, we forget as entrepreneurs, as coaches, as teachers, that it takes time. right? Things take time. It can't be learned overnight. So
yeah.
I think it's very very valuable.
Yeah, I talked about that on Friday, where you got to suck before you're good. You know, everyone's got to suck. Everyone tries to be good. And then most business owners forget where they started, and they always try to compare themselves. Like, oh, I wish I could bring in somebody as good as me. And I'm like, you suck. Like, there are people better than you, but the problem is that you think you're that good.
It's so egotistical.
Right,
Too.
for real.
Right.
No one's better than me.
Right.
Like, come on, guy.
Right.
We all know that there's someone better than
I think
us.
I'm at the point I know I suck.
Yeah.
My guy.
Well, you just said, you know, some of your guys are better.
Absolutely.
For a business owner, entrepreneur to say, I know my team is better at what they're doing than I am, that's a superpower. You know, most guys will never say that. No. Most guys would be like, fucking guys, bro. Like, you know what I mean? They can never do it right. They can never do it like me. But at the end of the day, it's because you're not hiring the right talent. You're not getting the right people. And you're sitting there thinking you're so good.
Right.
You know?
I think it makes him sound better, but it makes him sound worse. It's much more power in saying this person's better than me in this. Period. Talk to them than saying, "Oh yeah, I'm better than them."
Yeah, and
in reality, not being.
And we were talking about before is it always takes. you listen to everything everybody says. I mean, I always listen to somebody come. We're just talking to any of the people who are with me, you know, and it's, you know, I'm always listening to see if I can pick something up to make something better. You know, one of my guys or girls who are working with me, you know, they bring something to my attention. Yeah, that works. Let's try it. Right. I'm always open-minded to say, hey, let's try that. You brought that to me. Hey, it might cost us a little bit to try to get going. We might lose the money, but we tried. And it empowers them to say, oh, yes, we tried this. Didn't work the way we wanted, but maybe let's grow on it and let's try it again in 6 months, you know, or let's figure something out. So I'm always open-minded to do that. And, you know, maybe that's, you know, I try to break through ceilings when I can, but, and I need help. You need help with that sometimes, you know, because different ideas are flowing all the time. And that's the hard part too, saying no, saying no, I know that's not going to work because I've been there. I've done that. This is why. But you have to explain it too. If you're the type of person that's just going to say, nope, that's not going to work. Well, the person who's bringing you the idea, well, why not? This is a great idea. Well, explain it to them. This is what I did. These are the steps. Have documentation on what you did, and do it. And systems and processes. I mean, that's awesome too. Bring your systems. Bring your processes. Have things that actually work. And you can show people, hey, this works because of this. Not, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know?
You need reasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's how you build trust, right? It seems like you have Anthony was your first inspector, right? Just correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna guess your average tenure is over 5 years at this point. And you nailed it, right? You said it right there. Everything you just said, you bring it to your team. You say it's gonna cost money. It might fail, but we're gonna try it anyway because I believe that your idea might have some validity to it.
Right.
I've experienced this personally just in the past few weeks where we were going to bring a new department on, pure scheduling, centralized scheduling, which is foreign to our company currently, where everyone is acting like a franchise. And someone came to me and my DOO, Director of Operations, said, I want to do this. I said, all right, we could do it. I just want to let you know these are what's going to happen if it fails, and this is what's going to happen if it succeeds. I think that we're a little bit too early, but we're going to do it because you want to do it. It was a smashing fucking success.
That's awesome.
And his attitude before that was like, man, I'm burnt out. After this, nothing has changed on his scope. Everything is on his plate still. But he feels more empowered now, and his attitude has changed tenfold. So I could attest to your strategy.
Yeah, I'm happy that worked out. That's good.
So what, you know, you have a lot going on. I've been trying to put myself in your shoes this entire time. Like, my head's exploding on the inside just thinking about the things that you have to do on a daily basis. And, you know, one of my favorite questions to ask is, what keeps you up at night?
That's a good question. My wife sometimes.
She's not doing her job.
The kids. No. So what keeps me up at night is how am I gonna get better the next day, really? Because I want to figure it out. It's a daily grind at it, but really, how am I gonna get better tomorrow? What did I go through today that I'm learning from and I can get better from? And it keeps me up because I know I look back on my day. I try to always say that my day was my day and tomorrow's, you know, I'm gonna be able to get better. But what could have gone better today, and what can I get better with tomorrow? And I keep running that through my head. And then when I encounter it again, I'm remembering that, oh, listen, I did this. I can do this. I can do this better. So really just how I can get better and how I can make my entire community better on a day, and not community out in scope, but my family and everybody who's surrounding me.
So let's talk about this. And I know it's something new in your life, and something that you just discovered. And it's something that most people would take as a paralyzing thing in their life and kind of make them stop in their tracks and freak out about the world. But you're going through some health challenges right now. But at the end of the day, since you found out, you haven't slowed down.
Right.
You continue to move forward. And I think that the majority of people in this world would use that. And I think a lot of people suffer, and a lot of people cause themselves so much pain because they don't allow themselves to go through and grow through situations, but they become paralyzed. So maybe share with us what you're going through right now, but at the same time, why and how are you not letting it affect you?
Sure. So right now I'm going through, so let me first start off of, going through things and going through them and growing through them. I think you said that. Yeah. You said that best, right? It's when you go through things, you have to first put in your head and really take a step back when you discover bad news, in a sense. Is it bad news, or is it going to make you grow, and what's going to change in your life, right? So I recently discovered I went for my 45-year-old colonoscopy, right? You're supposed to go at 50. They changed it to 45. I'm so happy they did, right? So I went for my 45-year-old colonoscopy, and I have some polyps in there like everybody does. Well, not everybody, but one of them came back as rectum cancer, right? Sucks. Really sucks. It took me, a few minutes, to say, okay, I pull it back. I said, all right, this is what's going on. All right, doc, what are we doing? What are we going to do? Went through all the steps and realized that if I let this stop me now, I'm gonna paralyze myself to a point that, I'm not going to be able to be the person I need to be for anybody who's surrounding me. And that's really kind of what motivates me to just get through, is being the person that I need to be to make sure that the people who are surrounding me are getting what they need from me. So, I took my time, whether it was 2 minutes or a day or 2 days, whatever it was, to, not sulk, but realize what it was and kind of just move on. So, I mean, the question is hard because I was never the type of person who faced anything and said, this is going to stop me. I never had it. So it's a hard question because I never let it stop me, right? We talked about before, I was born with something called bladder exstrophy, right? From early, I was born with this. Your bladder's on the outside of you, and you go through, I've been through tons and tons of operations to, get to the point that I'm at now. And it's always been with me to know that you just got to push through, and I'm very, very thankful for the family that I have, my mother, my father. They never said, hey, this is a problem. No, it's not a problem. Even what I'm faced with now, it's not a problem. It's how you see it, right? So your problems are never problems. It's the perspective that you're looking at it as.
Powerful.
So just look at it as in a positive way. Whatever positive that you can take out of it, that's what you have to run with. Because if you start looking at it, oh man, this is rectum cancer. Man, I know it's in there. I know it's hurting me. I know it's growing. I know it's doing this. It's gonna grow. It's gonna hurt you. Anything, your negative thoughts are gonna become reality if you let them. Same with the positive. So that's why I just keep on trying to keep the course of being positive. And everybody has their downs, right? You're gonna have those times where you're like, shit, this is really happening.
Yeah, so right? I was just gonna ask you, how do you talk yourself back into the kick of things when you're driving by yourself? You're by yourself. Maybe you just got off a phone call. The radio's not on now. Here goes your head. Now you start thinking, you're like, fuck, I'm really going through this. Like, how do you get yourself back? Like, all right, what I mean? We have to think here, not think here. Like, how do you bring yourself back to the place that you have to think about right now, not what may be, only what you can make happen?
So, I mean, at this point in my life, when I get into that point, I start thinking about I start thinking about my kids. I start thinking about my family, what I have going on in my life, and I start thinking about that, and I say, I need to be that person, right?
Yeah.
Get yourself out of it, right? And usually when I'm driving, if I'm not listening to music, a lot of times I'm not listening to anything when I'm in the car because I'm on a phone call, I'm here or there, and then there's silence, and I'm just driving, looking at whatever I'm looking at, and if that thought comes up, I might try to make a phone call. You need your sponsor, right? You need somebody that you can talk to. Yeah. Whether it's my dad, whether it's my buddy Joey here, or whether it's anybody that I can talk to. It's that person that's going to bring you positive energy, and just vent to, right? Everybody's got a vent. Not one person can say that they're not going to somebody and venting about something. So if you can vent to somebody but get it out and get it done with.
Do your kids know about it?
That was actually
to a point. They know that I was going to the doctors. They know that I had to get my butt checked. They know that.
That's weird, Dad.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, I had to get quick story. I had to get a colonoscopy and endoscopy at the same time. So my daughter's like, just make sure they don't put the same one in the same spot. But they know to a point, but they ask questions. Hey, Dad, what was? How are you feeling? How are you doing? So I can talk to them to a point with it, and they're always there to just kind of, they're positive. They're positive.
How about your wife?
Yeah, how did you communicate it to friends and family, and especially the close ones?
I think your wife's more important because you have to still be the rock of the family. And if he breaks down, she'll break down.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Absolutely. She's a rock herself, so she pushes right through it, and I can tell in her eyes that we talk a lot. We talk all the time about hey, you okay today? How you feeling this morning? How you doing? What are you going? What did you go through yesterday that was hard? And same thing with me. So it really tough on her, and I can tell at points that she couldn't get through it. I've learned everybody's different. I learned from my wife I need to give her space. So it's let her have her time, and she comes back stronger. Even if it's an hour, 2 hours, whatever it might be, give her some time. So she's very strong through all of this. I can't say anything that she hasn't been negative or anything through the entire thing. She's been really strong.
How do you come off as a leader in the family to your wife and tell her you have?
I'm vulnerable.
Okay.
I am vulnerable when it comes to it. So my kids know that I cry. I'm definitely a crier, man. I'm almost tearing it up here, but they know that I'm a crier. They know they could come and talk to me. But they know that I push through. They know that I'm definitely strong when it comes to stuff like this, but they know that I'm vulnerable, and I'm okay with being like that. I'm okay with saying to them, Dad had a really tough day today. And, oh, Dad, what happened? What's this? Well, I talked to him to a point with it. And, I think that's the best way to put it, I guess. I'm just vulnerable with them. Mm-hmm. So I'm vulnerable, and I think that's where my strength comes in too, because I want them to see that it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to talk about what's going through, but to also know that you have to get out of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I only ask because I'm putting myself in your position.
Yeah.
And then I'm putting Dan in your position. God forbid, right?
Yeah.
But I imagine someone like Dan just comes in literally out of the doctor's office, goes and buys a shirt that just says "fuck cancer," right? And then that's like Dan's persona for the next 12 months. It's like "fuck cancer."
Right.
Me, probably closer to you, right? Yeah, I cry too. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But yeah. A little bit more in between you two, right? What's that?
I miss you too,
baby. But I just have to say, man, I really appreciate your honesty. You're always honest 100% of the time. I don't even think it's possible for you to tell a lie. I just honestly don't. So I really could appreciate it. Even in the very beginning, you said I try to wake up in the morning. You know, most people, they come on here, and especially on the internet, they're like, you have to fucking 5 o'clock or nothing.
4 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning.
4 o'clock. You have to wake up. Just like your email. 4 o'clock. And if you don't, you'll fucking fail. And it's like, come on. That's not reality. The reality is we're human, and humans aren't perfect, and life isn't perfect. And we have to flow with that in order to make things work. So I just want to thank you for your honesty.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I try my best. Because everybody has their downfalls and everything. And growing up, you're always learning and from the people that you watch, right? And I've always been around people who are always telling the truth. I come from a very old school Italian family, and it was always just tell the truth. There's no reason to lie. There's no reason. People are gonna like you if they like you. They're gonna hate you if they hate you. Whatever it might be. I'm lucky that I have people that surround me that like me. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't like what I do, but I'm always tell the truth, and whatever happens is gonna happen.
The only people that don't like you are the people who aren't willing to do what you do and go through what you go through. Those are usually people. There's so many people out there that talk shit about me. But bro, you couldn't even walk a mile in my fucking right.
Many.
You can't walk a mile in my shoes. Never mind run in my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
And people just hate on you because I'm straight up. I'll tell you how it is. And if something doesn't work out, I'm gonna be 100% blunt. And I'm not gonna beat around the bush. And you're gonna like me or hate me. And I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. But I think something that you said about being vulnerable with your kids and talking about crying with your kids. If I can give any advice to any father out there, and this is just my opinion and advice that I truly believe has helped my family, is that as fathers, we've watched our fathers a lot of times, and our grandfathers are the tough guy of the family, and I don't cry, and get up, and blah, 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 and everything is fine, and whatever. Like, you never see that there's a problem until way later on in life.
Right.
So one thing I learned, I think I read it in a book when I was like in my early 20s and my kids were like super young, is that the best thing you can do for your kids is let them be aware of problems, but show them how to solve them. Because most fathers don't want to tell their kids that there's problems. So what happens is now as their kids grow up and, dad was Superman and I'm nobody and I can't get through it because dad never had a problem and I have all these problems. This is where the difficulties and challenges come in life. And now these men don't become men. These men break down and suicide and all because they're never going to be good enough for their dad because dad never went through this. Why am I going through this? So I've always shown my kids, like, no matter what, you're going to get through it. I go through it. Times are tough right now, but you got to go through it. You got to go through it. And, my daughter at a young age wrote, I don't know, it was like she was probably 10, maybe younger. Who's the strongest person you know? My dad, because no matter what happens, he doesn't give up. Like, how does a 10-year-old, 9-year-old say that? You know what I mean? Because that's what you teach them.
That's what you're teaching them. Yeah, and I believe that, we were saying you got to make mistakes, right? They're going to have to go through shit and learn and get through it themselves. You can't always depend on, me as your dad. You can't always depend on, not that you can't depend on you, but you're going to have to get through stuff by yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing, one of the biggest things that my parents taught me is we're here for you, but you're going to make mistakes and you're going to have to deal with the consequences and you're going to have to deal with some of that stuff by yourself. And you're going to get through it. You're going to get through it and you're going to figure out how to get through it and you're going to be better because of it. But going through it might be shit, but know that on the other side, we're still going to be here and we're still going to be okay with whatever happens. We're still going to be here, so don't ever worry about a problem. Problems are going to get solved. It's how you deal with them. Just like I deal with that in business and everybody does, right? A problem comes up, somebody makes a mistake, you have a problem with a client. It's how you deal with it. It's how you deal with it is what is going to make your business get better.
Yeah. Everyone wants to be a champion and show everyone that they're a champion. But the true leader shows everyone that they're a fighter because the fighter becomes the champion.
Right.
But nobody ever wants to show the fight. Nobody ever wants to show the struggle. Nobody ever wants to show that. And I think when you do that to no matter who your peers are, your coworkers, your business partners, your kids, whoever it is, like they see that you're a real human and you really go through it. But the only difference between you is you're not complaining about it. You're solution driven. And that solution driven is giving you the results that you're getting, but you're still fighting the fight.
Right. Nobody cares.
I'll tell you that twice.
And I truly believe that. You can talk to your friends and your family about it, and they care to a point, but nobody cares.
Everyone has their own problems.
Nobody care. Everybody have their own point. Everybody have their problems. Tough shit. Let's go through it. Let's get through it. We're here to help. Let's get through it. But nobody cares.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. It's been great. I really enjoyed it. And if anyone's looking for home inspection, wants to know a little bit more about your nonprofit,
sure,
or has some handyman work that needs to be done, how can they find you?
So you can find us at vitaliinspection.com, Happy Smiles Foundation.com, or homeservicesplus.com, and also techspire.com. You can find us on all those type of platforms. You can Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn as well. We're on all different platforms is there. For us, especially our nonprofit, we're always posting videos and content about how you can get out there and help on your own, or join us for one of our events or our drives. We do have coming up. We have our big Thanksgiving drive coming up, and we're just finishing with our Hope Totes drive, where we're raising money to give back to cancer patients who are going through it. We put together totes that have different things in them for cancer patients to get through their chemo. So yeah, please follow us and let us know if you want to help in any way.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure having you on here.
Yeah, this was awesome.
I love every time we talk, getting to know you closer and closer and closer. So I appreciate having individuals like you in my life. And guys, hey, listen, if you're not following us, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. It really helps boost our algorithm, and it helps get this message out to other people. So we'll see you on the next episode.
Don't forget to share. Thanks, guys.